Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I've decided I'm going to do a 2-week update. So this is going to be a 2-week update on this video rather than the 1 week, just so I can show you more stuff. So we are now in week 5 of this build, and I say this week we've made some good progress. Doesn't look as dramatic as previous weeks, but we've still made some good progress. So if you look up into the vault now, we've got insulation in, and that is all battened in, ready for the plasterboard to go on top of it. We've also got insulation in the floor, so that is now ready for, I don't know what it is, some extra layer of floor concrete or something that goes on top of that, and I think that will be done soon. But the building inspector wants to see this insulated part before he allows to go to the next bit, so he is coming tomorrow, which is Monday. It's Sunday today, he's going to come tomorrow. The other thing that we've had going on this week is that we've had the first fix electrics put in. So you can see here in the service void all the wires here that are ready to go in, because we are going to have lights, spotlights all the way down there. So we're going to have spotlights, 3 rows of them, which I find seems like a lot, but the builder tells me it's about right. And then in here we're going to have loads of spotlights as well, so it seems that there's going to be lots of spotlights. One thing I will say on the electrics is the height of the plug sockets. So you see down here, to me, that plug socket just seems really high, especially if you compare it to our current one that's in there. And I said to the builder, I said, it's a bit odd. Can we just have the current plug socket as low as the current one so it matches? And he said no, and the reason for that is because new building control now requires you to have it at this height. And it's something to do with access requirements for disabled people. So now you have to have your plug sockets slightly higher in order to meet building control. No problems with this one. If you remember back a couple of videos ago, this is where the TV is going, and the plug socket is now in place, ready behind the TV. So that will be for the TV and the sound bar, so it'll all be hidden behind the TV, which is nice. We've also got the piping is starting to come over here, and there's a channel here out ready, because this is where our radiator is going to go. So there's another plug socket down there, and the radiator is going to go on there. Big things happening next week, which is why I want to show you the video next week. The doors are coming on Wednesday, so we will actually have the doors in. And also this week our kitchen is due for delivery from DIY Kitchens, and you just know they're both going to come at the same time. DIY Kitchens will turn up and the doors will turn up at the same time. I'm sure that's what's going to happen. Now, DIY Kitchens are quite specific on how they want to deliver a kitchen. So they say in their description that their delivery guys will not walk up more than 6 steps. We don't have 6 steps. We do have a slight incline, and maybe that equates to 6 steps, but there's no steps, so we'll be fine there. And they will not walk more than 20 meters from their truck to deliver your kitchen. Now, so what it might mean is they're willing to walk so far into my house, but not so too far into my house, which just seems ridiculous. But the kitchen is going to be delivered next week. I don't know when. This is the other thing with DIY Kitchens. They give you a 2-day delivery window, which another thing, it seems crazy. And then they tell you that an hour before they're going to come. With DIY Kitchens though, you have to say, can a truck fit down your street? And our street is quite narrow, but it does fit a truck down it. I mean, we moved into this house and a huge truck came down it and emptied it out. We've had building supplies come, but they do charge you more if the truck doesn't fit down here, because they want to deliver it on 3 smaller vans. I went with the big truck. Hopefully they'll fit it down here, they'll come the right way, and we can get the kitchen off. We have been kind of clearing things out in the house because I'm suspecting that there's going to be a lot of boxes with this kitchen, which we're going to have to find homes for, because this isn't ready obviously yet for the kitchen. And if you're wondering what this is like a contraption that they made, because that's obviously where the lantern is going. And because it's been raining this week, they've put tarpaulin over it, but they just didn't want the water to sit in it, so they've made this so it pitches the roof up, so the rain kind of falls off it. But it's quite a cool contraption. It seems a little bit over-engineered to create a pitch, but that's what they've done. But one of the things I find quite amazing is how thick this roof is. So you've got like basically wood, then another bit of wood, then insulation, then another 2 bits of wood, then the roof, which just seems like an incredible, I mean, incredibly thick roof. I didn't expect it to be like that big, but it is. All right, and if you remember, I did this in the last video where I made these things shorter. Wow, we've got a bit of a problem. If I come in this toilet and switch the light on and off, and that, ladies and gentlemen, that's quality electrics. Right, so we're now at week 6, and you will notice a few things. Firstly, there's no doors. Secondly, there's no floor. The 2 things I said was going to happen this week has not happened, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, it's been raining a lot this week, and that has caused some delays because they cannot put the floor down until the roof is completely non-leaking. So they've been up there just finishing off the roof and putting the tiles back on the vaulted part of our roof there, and that is now done, so it's kind of ready for the floor to go in. And then the second reason is I keep changing things, so I keep asking the builder to change things, which I'm sure is annoying him. If I was the customer, I am the customer. If I was the builder and I had a customer like me, I'd be annoyed. But anyway, he seems to be all right with it. So I've run you through a few things that we're changing. So first of all, small one, after he's run all the electrics, I've asked him if we can put a couple of cables, one out here so that we can have an outside light on the outside and then the same on the other side. So I want to get a light on either side to make it a bit more sort of symmetrical. So I've asked him to do that. The second thing I asked him to do, we've basically, as a reminder, we're having grey doors, a grey lantern, and they were going to put white fascias and guttering and all that on. Well, they actually, I've asked them, after he got the white delivered, I've asked them to change it to grey, and they managed to get some grey delivered, and I think it looks a lot better in grey, and when the doors are on, it will look better. And then the other thing, which is a bit more major, that I've asked him to look into, is potentially we are thinking about taking out this wall here. Now obviously doing it at this stage after we've done everything else makes it a bit of a nightmare. What we will end up with is like a post like here, and then it'll all be completely open. The reason we're thinking of doing that is we just think it's going to look really nice just having that big expanse and being able to look out. But also we're going to have a living room at the front of the house where the current utility room is, so we're going to still have that kind of little snug living room area if we want it, and then this will be our big open family space. We are not sure if we're going to be able to do this because the building inspector came out and he basically said we have to be careful because we've got a steel across there that's holding that up, and then we would just have another steel across there, and that will be holding the entire back of our house up, including the roof. And if you remember from the video a couple of videos ago, our roof is massive on this house, so we've got to be careful. So what they're saying is we might need a set of steels that's called goalposts, so you have a steel and then 2 steels that are holding that steel up, which makes it more stable. But the building inspector has said you can only do that if the foundations are built on kind of rock. The foundations on this house are built on clay, so we might not be able to do it. But the building inspector said is, can you dig a hole, a pilot hole, and show me what is under your foundations? And what we've noticed is, and we've dug this hole, is our foundations are super wide. They are much wider than they need to be. I'll show you around here. I don't think you'll really be able to see it, but we've dug the hole. And oh, you can't really see it, it's all covered up. But basically, we've dug a hole in there that shows the foundation, and the foundation comes out. So about here somewhere. It's just ridiculously big foundation. Apparently it's very unusual to have a foundation that big. And we're hoping the building inspector comes back and says it's good to go. And we can actually put in this this goalpost set up with the steels, because it's gonna because the foundation is so wide. If he doesn't, it doesn't matter. We'll leave that wall in place. We'll take out those doors and it'll all be good. We just wanted to see if the option was there. If it's going to cost us a load of money, I'm not going to bother doing it. If we can do it for a reasonable price, then we will go ahead and do it. And then the final thing that I'm asked the builder to change is the location of our utility room. So what we've noticed in this like living room here that we've got, our old living room, is that it's quite dark in there, and we're going to lose the window that's on the end, which is going to be a bit of a pain. So I've asked him if we can move the utility room into the hallway, which is a big hallway, but it's unnecessarily big. We'll still end up with a big hallway, but this will just use the utility room there, and we can keep the window in the living room. One other thing is, you'll notice there's loads of rubbish out here. You see down there, there's like loads of rubbish, and the rubbish is being collected on Monday. It's quite a funny story about this, actually, because the guy that actually comes to collect the rubbish, his company name is called Jean-Claude Van Man, and it just makes me laugh. So I was like, yeah, as in Jean-Claude Van Man, like Jean-Claude Van Damme. And it makes me laugh because I said to him, where's that name come from? And basically, he's called Sean and his wife's called Claudia. So they've called their rubbish collecting business Jean-Claude Van Man. I don't know if he's just winding me up, but that's what he told me, and that's cool. Right, the other major thing that's happened this week is the kitchen's been delivered. Right, so on Wednesday, I think it was, DIY Kitchens, they came to us and they said, right, we're going to be there on Wednesday, and they gave me about 5-6 hours notice that they were going to come. And then they called me just before, and they tried to pull into the road, and they called me and said, we cannot fit the truck down your road, which was a problem I discussed, a potential problem I discussed in the last video. What I did is I directed them round to another part of the road where you can come in. They managed to get in, and they got out in the street, and they were kind of ready to sort of unload. The guy wasn't particularly happy about doing it because it was going to block the street for the entire time, but I'd already told neighbours this was going to happen. Everyone was pretty supportive about it, so that was good. So the kitchen is now here, and as you can see, it's taken over our entire hallway. So there's like tool unit here, fridge here, and then there is another tool unit there, another tool unit behind there, panels and stuff here, and then we've got, it's like 2 deep here of like cupboards all the way along, and then in here we've got another set of another cupboard, box of legs and things like that. The other thing, which I don't know if I can show you it, we've got a sink from DIY Kitchens, and this sink has got a 75-year guarantee on it, and I don't think I've ever bought a product that's got a guarantee on it that's as long as that. The guarantee on that sink is going to outlive me. It's probably going to outlive my kids. So what I have done though is I've instructed my children, when that reaches 74 years, I'm going to make sure I put in a warranty claim against that sink. So that sink is going to become family heirloom that's going to that's going to go into my will. I'm going to hand that sink down to the kids, and they're going to have to put in a guarantee claim that's 74 years, and if they can't do it, they need to hand it down to the grandkids. The grandkids are going to do it. So the kitchen is here, and there's just stuff, kitchen bits everywhere in our house. There's panels upstairs, there's plinths. One thing I'm not sure is, it doesn't feel like everything's here. I've just got a paranoid feeling that everything isn't here, but you won't really know that until you start putting it together, because when they rock up, they just come in, and I actually ended up having to help them lift it in. And you don't really know, and then they just go sign this bit of paper, and then you go, yep, all right, and then they're off. So you just have to hope that everything is here. But anyway, that is the end of our week 6 thing. That is the end of our week 6 update, and I think next week I am hoping that the floor goes in and the doors are in. However, the builder is a bit reluctant to put the doors in until we know what we're doing with this wall. Once we know what we're doing with the wall, then he can sort out what he's going to do with the doors. He's reluctant to have things coming in and out, like bricks and things, when the doors are on, because if the doors get damaged, it's an expensive mistake. So I'm still hopeful that next week we'll have the floor in and the doors in. The doors are ready at the place. They're just waiting to be delivered, but other than that, it's all good. People keep saying to me, oh, I bet it's really stressful. Oh, how do you cope? The thing with me is, I love being in stressful situations. I love the chaos. I love the journey more than the result. And it drives my wife mad, because when I get to the end, I'll be like, brilliant. Well, now what? What next? And she's like, yeah, but we've got it. We've got the kitchen. And I'm like, yeah, but that's done. Now what? Drives her mad. Anyway, Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.